Here are more examples of using the order of operations. Remember, the instructions here are to simplify or to evaluate and simplify. Evaluate means put the value for x into the expression, and then simplify means write it in a simpler way. So let's begin. So I'm going to put the value in for x. Now I have to decide what to do first, and according to the order of operations, I need to look for parentheses. There are no parentheses here with an operation inside them, so then I look for exponents. There is an exponent, so I'll do that first. Now I will say that this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see students make with the order of operations. Right here, so many students try to multiply the 5 times the 3 first before they do the exponent. So remember, you always do an exponent before you multiply. So I'm going to bring down everything I'm not using. 3 to the second power is 3 squared, or 3 times 3, which is 9. Then I'll multiply, and last of all, add. A second example. Be sure that you copy this example just like it is, except where the x is, put a 7. So there are parentheses there. You don't change those at all unless you want to make them brackets for some reason. If you wanted to put the 7 in parentheses, then you might turn the original parentheses into brackets. Okay. Now notice that everything is inside parentheses except the exponent. So I'm going to do everything inside the parentheses first. The exponent will be the last thing that's done. Now inside the parentheses there's subtraction and multiplication, so the order of operations says to multiply first. So I bring down everything I'm not using. Then I'll subtract, and last of all, I'll do the exponent. A third example. Notice there are brackets here. Brackets are grouping symbols, or like parentheses, so I'm going to do everything in the brackets first. So the last thing I will do will be to add the 6. So the 6 just continues to come down, so bring down everything you're not using. In the brackets, you do an exponent before you add or subtract. So to the third power, or 2 cubed, means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Then inside the brackets, I'm going to subtract before I add, not because it's more important, but because addition and subtraction are equal, so you do the one that comes first. So I'm going to do the subtraction first. Then I will add, and last of all, I will add the 6. Here's a fourth problem. Again, I'm dividing with a fraction here, so the first thing you have to do is you have to multiply by the reciprocal. So notice I changed the division sign to multiplication, and I flipped the last fraction. You never flip the first fraction, you always flip the last. And you never flip a fraction unless you have changed a division symbol to multiplication. If it's already multiplication, you don't flip a fraction. Okay? And then, of course, to multiply, you just multiply straight across, but you always cancel if you can. So 3 will divide into both 3 and 6, and then I can multiply straight across, and so my final answer is going to be 9. A fifth example. Here, x has a value of 1/2, so notice that I'm multiplying fractions. Now, there was not a division symbol, so I don't have to flip anything, any fraction. So I'm going to multiply straight across, but you always cancel if you can first. 2 will divide into both 2 and 2. So 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 2 once. So I'm going to multiply straight across. However, now I have a subtraction problem, and to add or subtract fractions, you need a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the 1/3 by 2 over 2, because I want to get a common denominator of 6. So if I multiply 1/3 by 2 over 2, I get 2 over 6 minus 1 over 6. Now, 2/6 doesn't look like 1/3, it doesn't sound like 1/3, but it has exactly the same value, because notice here, all I did was raise 1/3 to higher terms by multiplying by 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is the same as 1. Therefore, I didn't change the value of the fraction. So 2/6 has exactly the same value as 1/3. Now I can subtract, if you subtract 6 from 6, you get 6, and then 2 take away 1 is 1. So the answer is 1/6. A last problem. Again, let me remind you that when the entire problem is written with a fraction bar, then it's as if the top is in parentheses and the bottom is in parentheses. In other words, we make the assumption that the top is grouped and the bottom is grouped. So the last thing we're going to do is the division bar. So let's put in the numbers. First of all, x is 4 and y is 2. Now I'm going to do one calculation on top in the same step that I do one calculation on bottom. So on the top, I'm going to square the 4, or I'm going to say 4 times 4. Okay, now on the bottom, I'm going to do one step. So on the bottom, again, I'm going to do the exponent first. 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Okay. Now I'm going to do one step again on the top. 16 plus 5 is 21. I'm going to do one step on the bottom. I'm going to subtract first because it comes first. Subtraction and addition are equal. I'm finished on the top, so I'm just going to bring down the 21. 6 plus 1 is 7. And now 21 divided by 7 can be simplified. So the final answer is 3.